Okay, so today is the first new moon of 2020, and it's Friday, January 24th, as you guys can all see. And I'm Debbie Moran, for those of you who don't know me, even though it tells you here. And I'm going to see, I'm not sure what it is that's happening. Norman is doing something to my computer, so
all fine.
I'm sitting back and watching him. And now I'm going to swap out for just a second and start my recording on my Facebook. On my free conference call. So here we go. Conference recording. Where the heck is it? Okay.
The recording has started.
Okay, so just to repeat what I just said on Facebook Live, today is Friday, January 21st, 2020. This is Debbie Moran, and this is our first new moon session for this year. And I have some, I'm just very excited. I have some really lovely people I haven't talked to in a while, and they're on the other line. And does anybody want to actually make any statements about, like, something you want to say?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, I would like to maybe see if we can work on forgiveness. My intention will be more people will understand how important is forgiveness of yourself.
Okay.
You know, that's something that I have been working out a lot these past 2 weeks, and it has come with a beautiful, beautiful result.
Okay. So when you say you would like for us to work on forgiveness, are you saying for yourself and or globally?
Well, of course. I mean, if I say forgiveness is to look at each one of us individually and knowing that what we learn within ourselves, it repercutes in the whole universe.
Absolutely.
So, so it's for us and of course for everybody else that is feeling that.
Beautiful. Okay. Thank you.
And I'd like to add an intention similar for ease of peace, inner peace, and self-love. So a more consistent experience of those things in life, which is the ultimate thing I think I've looked for outside of me, and I'm recognizing those two pieces. The self-forgiveness kind of turns into self-love for me. Those pieces then feel important as an intention right now for my life.
Nice.
To invite in more self-love and acceptance and presence.
Beautiful.
I'm in a place of working on general letting go, I think. Basically letting go of all the myriad paths that I've been trying to make work.
Say that again. Did you say the myriad paths?
It's my little all the myriad paths that I've been trying to make work for me.
Mm-hmm.
To get me, it's like the sense that what I can be, I guess basically higher dimensional being here, is just through this thin veil. And I've got so many different things that I've learned and tried and experienced that have gotten me to where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm at a point of feeling like I need to let go of all of them and also let go of whatever imprint there is subconsciously that they haven't would include work.
Would include what?
The rest of them, that they haven't worked to get me through that thin veil that seems to be there.
Ah, okay.
It's like I feel like it's like I have to need to. I feel like I need to let go of all of that.
Ah. Could
And also let go of wanting to control getting there. Just kind of
You mean getting there to letting go?
Step forward and see what unfolds.
Beautiful.
Without expectations or attachment or any of the history that has gotten me to where I am now. Is that making any sense?
It's making a lot of sense. Are you okay if I reframe it?
Absolutely. That makes more sense that way.
Thank you. So I'm going to reframe it, and you feel free to correct me if I'm going off task of what it is that you're intending. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. And hi, everybody. I'm not going to say hi to everybody as they come on because I just find that too distracting. So thank you, everybody who's joining right now. So, Susan, so what I hear you saying and what it feels like is when you say letting go, what if instead of letting go, it's more of an integrative process?
Okay.
And I say that only from my own experience of going from through one process and one technique and one system and really integrating it and really taking it in, and it feels like it serves me up to a point, and then I go on to something else, and then in the past I've gone on to something else, and then I've kind of like just thrown that away, like let it go. And what if we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater? What if instead we integrate it so that it becomes a part of you to the degree that you're not trying to control it anymore, because it's simply you've simply integrated the wisdom of the entire experiences in the system. And so what that does is I'm finding that as we do that and as we integrate those aspects of ourselves that we left behind or thrown away or let go of, it feels like sometimes in our letting go process, it's a controlling kind of dynamic. And what if we just breathed into the moment and allowed ourselves to be present to what shows up, since we have already allowed ourselves to integrate the wisdom of where we've been and what we've done?
I like it.
Does that feel like it kind of is gathering your intention?
It does. And it's sitting here going, finally.
I love So and Joey. So and Joey.
This is what we've been trying to tell you, yeah.
So for those of you who are now joining on Facebook Live, are these beautiful birds and these beautiful presences that have been with us for most of these years of doing these sessions, huh, Susan?
Yeah.
Yeah. And for you and for all of you who are joining now. Did I miss something?
No, that was beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You can go to H3 conference call list if you like. You don't have to stay on.
I don't have to stay here? Okay.
Yes.
Norma's telling me I can go to HD conference call because I'm still not tech savvy yet. I'm going to say yet. So that way I can kind of keep track of who's there. But you know what? I'd rather not bounce back and forth. So I'm just going to trust that who shows up, shows up. And I want to say thank you to everyone who shows up. And if anybody feels called to say something, for those of you who are just joining for the first time, and I see many are just joining for the first time. For those of you just joining for the first time, thank you. These are sessions. And I am being facilitated through, I'm facilitating these sessions, but not alone. And it's all of you joining that actually allows this to happen. So the more of us that join, the more our attentions, the more we come together, the more we are able to just be present to what's going to show up for us, and trusting that what is going to show up for us is for our highest good and the highest good of all, because we're not trying to control it. We're just being present to it and coming together and energizing it in such a way It's my heart's desire to wake up and co-create heaven on earth, or actually the remembrance that we never left heaven in the first place, that heaven is heaven on earth, and we're here. And we just have to remove the blinders that keep us from actually realizing it and experiencing it and being it. So,
well, my intention for today, this is Norman, is it is the new moon, it is the new year, the Chinese Lunar New Year happening today.
tomorrow.
And so my intention is to allow myself to be present with 2020 and allow me to be present with the changes that are occurring around me and allowing them to flow through me and allowing me to carry myself forward and with and through effortlessly and without my egoic hesitations. And that's that.
Or even with your egoic hesitations.
Yeah, let me flow. Right. Thank you.
That's another control thing. We're trying to control our egoic
I'm
hesitation.
trying to control. Let it flow. I said flow. No control. Flow.
So,
I haven't been
You gotta make that.
yeah.
You can individually make that quiet.
So,
You can ask who's washing
Hello.
dishes.
Can you hear me?
I can. Who's washing dishes?
Okay. I have an intention. I feel as if this is going to be your transition.
Is that you working? Wait a minute. Who is in the back?
Lisa.
Okay, so I'm gonna.
Quiet, Lisa.
Okay, so go ahead now.
It feels like this is going to be a year of transition. I've seen it from a couple other people. Have sites and things I've seen. They say this is a year transition. The old dispensation's ending, a new thing is starting. It's like it makes sense. So all the things I have many things unfinished. So for this year, all the things that I have left, certain things that I've left unfinished that are really on my heart to finish and complete, that is my intention for this year of transition.
Thank you, Karen. I have a lot of kind of in process and incomplete, and so I get that. So my intention as well to just be available and to allow things to be completed, actually, rather than me trying to complete them as I've been doing for years. So it's really coming to that place of being present and being available. What is needed comes together easily and gracefully to that state of completion.
Yeah.
Thank you.
In preparation for next dispensation. What's coming next, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? That can be people on the Facebook Live as well. So, okay. Yeah, it feels to me like, and those of you who know me or know I'm not an astrologer, but the information that I get really very much aligns up with the information that I get from the astrology as well, from those wonderful astrologer friends of mine out there. So it feels like that one of those old songs, "Oh, the times they are changing," and they are. In fact, time is changing, as many of you have probably experienced. I know I've been experiencing the sense of, and maybe as we become more present, then time is no longer needed to be experienced the way we have experienced it up to now. So what does that mean? It simply means if we just allow ourselves to meet ourselves and each other with full presence, then our worlds expand, our availabilities expand, our abilities expand because we are more available to a lot more resources, including one another, including our planet. And when I say being more available to our resources, I mean that in a reciprocating way, in a way where we are not consuming our resources and the energy of one another. We are so present, grounded into our bodies through our spirits, and we are simply being sourced from within and no longer needing to feed off of one another and no longer needing to feed off the earth. And when I say no longer needing to feed off the earth, it doesn't mean we don't eat. I'd love to be a breatharian, but I'm not there yet. So it doesn't mean we don't eat. It means we gratefully reciprocate and generously appreciate everything, every experience, every interaction, every circumstance, everyone we meet, and recognize that everyone we meet is us meeting ourselves again for the first. Everybody breathe that in. So forgiveness and self-love and self-appreciation are essential. And when I say they are essential, it means part of our essential nature, actually. And if we allow ourselves to get out of the way, when I say get out of the way, it's literally just breathe and coming through that veil you spoke of, Susan, because that veil are the veils that cover our senses, our eyes, our hearing, our sense of smell and taste and touch, and the way we interact with one another and the way we interact with our world. Hi, Bobby. So, what if we don't have to try so hard? What if we can quit trying so hard and simply allow ourselves to be? And remember and integrate our past and our history. What if we could go back through our timeline, what we're aware of consciously in this life and even unconsciously, and what if we could just go back in our memories and ourselves that we locked in closets and locked in boxes and locked in elevators along the way. I'm going to use a very bizarre example for myself. I was like sharing my experience of being like growing up, and we grew up poor, and my mom would go to drive-through and she would stick us kids in the trunk till we went through so she could pay for less people, and then she'd let us out of the trunk when we came into the driveway and we'd all watch the movie. And I didn't realize I'd left me in that trunk. So what I'm getting at is we have all these little experiences and they affect us in more ways than we imagine. And what if we just kind of can forgive that whole experience, the people involved, the misunderstandings along the way, and recognize that it's all part of our individual education, if it were, or experience in Earth School or on the planet, in life. And what if we could just remember that so much of those experiences and integrate so much of those experiences, forgive so many of those experiences, that suddenly we remember again, we never left the garden. Heaven was always there. Everybody just breathe that in, and if you will. And part of those of you who don't know Body Talk, part of what we do in Body Talk, breathe and tap it in. And when I say tap it in, we tap our heads, both sides, and breathe. And then we tap our hearts and breathe. And then we tap over our navel, over our bellies, over our gut brains. And we breathe. And as we do that, we are integrating more and more and more. And as we integrate, we are peeling away layers. Because as we integrate who we are, it's kind of like it moves things out that were stuck inside those experiences that we had not integrated up to this point. Thank you, Trina. So, what if we can just allow that to happen? What if we can quit trying so hard and pushing so hard and judging so harshly what we see out there, because we're integrating it in here? We're recognizing that, there's a Bible phrase that says, judge not lest ye be judged. What that really means is, as we're judging those people out there, we're doing so from the wounded place within us, which would be Chiron in astrology, that wounded healer. And so what if we judged, instead of falling down that pitfall and continuing that tirade of hate and injustice and fear and judgment, what if we recognized, ooh, I'm judging that person or that situation, and where is that person or that situation in me? Where did I fragment myself or leave a bit of me along the way? And what if more and more and more of us did that in such a way that suddenly we were different? And as we become different, as we become more present, the world around us can do nothing but change. Because as we become more present, the world that is real and is true shows up because we've shown up. So I feel like this energy, we're needing to clear this energy right now from the third eye. Actually, so it's like from the third eye. So I'm needing to kind of remove some of that energy from the third eye, as well as from the back throat, which then leads to the front throat, but it's the back throat. So if you feel like shake and shake, and if I do something weird, it's okay. The shaking is dogs. If you've ever watched a dog get into a fight or get scared, something gets startled, a dog or a cat, an animal, if you've ever watched an animal in the wild, or even a child who hasn't been fully indoctrinated into the rules of our societies, once they get over that shock or over that fright, once they get out of that state, there's kind of a shake that goes on. And that shake is kind of a reset in your nervous system. It's helping to align and get things moving in the body. Now I'm feeling the root. It's like I'm hearing, get to the root of things, get to the root of things. And it's like this really urgent, get to the root of things. Is that you, So and Judgy and Joey? Get to the root of things. And I'm feeling that at the root chakra, and in the perineal region, at the groin, and down in between the legs, and at the bladder. And it's actually like, there's this, like this tremor and this, like, and actually I feel like rocking and I feel like shaking, like there's fear. There is a deeply ingrained fear that is showing up, and this is just how it's showing up through me. This is deeply ingrained fear. And I can hardly breathe. And it's like, wow, I'm literally scared to death. How many people have said that before in their lives? You might want to reframe that, by the way. Literally scared to death. And it feels like that extremity, that extreme fear is like a low-grade fever running through the nervous system and the hard wiring of every human being on the planet. And it's creating this anxiety and this sense of incapability of being able to, the sense of overwhelm. It's creating different circumstances and different moments for everyone, but it's creating a lot of chaos. It's creating, and chaos is not bad, by the way, because chaos is great. In 5 rhythms, it's like one of the, it's like this energy that just kind of shakes things loose. And that's what it's doing, actually. This energy is needing to be shaken loose. And when I say, and actually that's what's happening in our environment out there. If anybody follows the news, I highly stop following the news, unless you can deal with it without it actually doing this to your nervous system. Because all of this craziness and this insanity out there is showing up to show us that it's no longer here, grounded in our roots. It is still in our roots, but it is no longer grounded in our roots. And it is creating this energy of breaking and shattering and lashing out and creating barriers and walls. It's creating these extreme reactions. So let's breathe that in, actually, and ground. I feel like I'm like, what's happening now is with that awareness, we're going through everyone's wiring, everyone's nervous system on the call, and establishing parameters to allow repair of that nervous system, to anchor you, to root you into the earth, not in such a way to rigidify and make you immobile, but rather to make you more available, more present, more able-bodied. So it's working with the systems in our body, which are the systems of our governments out there, the system of our countries out there, the ridiculous borders that we create out there because we haven't had a sense of stability in our own being up to now. And I feel now is the time for that to plugging in. So that root is more like a plugging in. So what it does is it's giving more energy, more light, the light of our being, to allow us to observe, be present, and to create from that place of observation and presence, to take action from that place of observation and presence, to move from that place of observation and presence, rather than that overreactive, anxious, I don't know what to do state. So as we do that anchoring and that plugging in for each of us on the call, and everyone that's on the call by intention, and for anyone that's not on the call or even unaware of this session but is available and calling out and asking for this, they're also being offered this ability to plug in, to ground, to be grounded into their own energetic bodies and into the energy of the whole, so that we can come together. Breathe freely and live and love well. And when I say live and love well, that means including the world around us and taking responsibility for our individual perspective and interactions in the world from a place of self-love. Thank you, Linda. Self-love and self-acceptance. And I'm going to even add self-appreciation. What I've recognized is, we talk about being grateful and gratitude and thank you being the best all-time prayer that we could all say. That gratitude and thankfulness is a foundation of which we can build as we appreciate ourselves and as we appreciate everything and everyone we interact with. Then we can grow and increase our sense of self-esteem, our sense of value, without judging it and comparing it to our current monetary system and consumerism dynamic. So it's not about even comparing, it's about recognizing, where am I doing that to myself? Where am I doing that to others? Where am I doing that in the world, and how can I shift that? Doesn't mean I give away everything I own. It means I appreciate everything I own, knowing I really own nothing. It is here as the flow of life that I get to be part of, that I get to share, that I get to enjoy and be with you and you and you and you and you and you and you, with all of life around me. Appreciating the variances and the colors and the subtleties and the as I become more supple and available and juicy in life, because I'm no longer pushing against, fighting against. I'm no longer having to force my way through anything. I'm now recognizing, everything here is an answer to my prayer, and everything here is showing up for me. And if it's not what I want, if it's not what I prefer, then perhaps I need to just breathe and do a personal check-in of, what have I been thinking about these days, or what am I really looking at, and how am I speaking? There's a saying, be good company. Keep good company, actually. That actually means as well, be good company to yourself. That means follow your heart, your thought processes, and see if you're on a train you want to keep riding, or you want to switch tracks. You want to get off that track. I don't want to go down that track anymore. It leads me off a cliff, or it leads me down a dead-end road. And I don't have to anymore, because I'm recognizing that it's not that I'm in control. I'm available for what I was divinely brought to be. I am available for the divinity that I am designed to be. In my human design, I am designed perfectly. In my imperfection, I am designed perfectly. My imperfection is part of the greater whole and part of the greatest perfection, part of the only perfection, all that is. That's taken me again to the throat. Something about that was hard to swallow for somebody. Some of our life experiences are hard to swallow. Some of our memories have been hard to swallow. And as a result, we keep them here, right here, in the bitterness of our thinking, in the anger, the bile of the gallbladder and the liver. Ugh. So I feel like I'm needing to kind of cleanse this, what we have been unable to swallow. Good. And bring it on down instead of spitting it out all the time. I personally think dragons get a bad rap, but the image that came out was a dragon spew. Again, I think dragons get a bad rap, but the image was meant to show a metaphor of when we get angry, it's like we spit out toxic poison. Or we just chew on it. And we just chew on it and chew on it and chew on it. And then it becomes a really bad taste in our mouth that never really settles anywhere. And so we're bringing it on down into the senses, down in through the alimentary canal, into the digestive tract, so that we can come down into the belly and assimilate those emotions that got stuck in there, assimilate those experiences that got stuck in there, so we can digest them and receive that nourishment and that beauty and that grace of them, and we can eliminate the waste. Actually, the perceptions, the belief systems, the rules and judgments, those things that we've been living our lives by up to this point. And sometimes it happens in the simplest experiences as a child, where we just all of a sudden take on the belief system that we don't matter because the people around us weren't capable of showing us that we mattered because they didn't know they mattered. So it's like this, we've been through history. Those of you who have been with me for a while, you know I've been saying this for a while. I feel like part of our job is to end history as we know it. Do that integrative process, bringing ourselves together in such a way that we can be present to a whole new level of awareness, present to a whole new vista of life, and present to a whole new sensual experience that doesn't need to fight, that doesn't need to overtake another, that doesn't need to put up walls. It needs essential boundaries. The body needs essential boundaries. The liver needs to know, apparently the liver is primary tonight. The liver needs to know that it needs to know its geometry. It needs to know its borders and its boundaries. But those are natural borders and boundaries, just like the boundaries of a lake are a natural border and boundary. The borders and boundaries that we put on a piece of paper and cut down the trees to actually make them an official boundary, that is not a boundary, that is a defense. And that is what we are needing to integrate and realize and remember. Remember, we need to remember our natural boundaries, where we begin and end in terms of our perception in our bodies. And allow ourselves to be in that space and in that internal, in that blessing, that gift that we were blessed to live through. That we were blessed, and we were given. The temple that we were blessed to be and to live through. Now, everybody breathe. I feel like feels like there's like a stuck spot. There's almost like a skipped record here. Not even a skipped record. It feels a bit like there's a, okay, I'm just going to do this until something moves. And everybody breathe. That's what needed to move. The breath. And as we breathe, I literally see the wind. And that cartoon image of a cloud blowing. Blowing and moving the stuckness that we thought was who we are. But they were just experiences. And it's not about dismissing any experience, it's about integrating that experience. It's about acknowledging that experience, acknowledging the person that you were that experienced that experience, and bringing that little person, or even that person from yesterday that experienced somebody cutting them off and getting pissed off because they got cut off and getting road rage. What if you just kind of breathe into it, go back to that person, say, I get you. I really don't think it was meant to be personal, but I get your feelings. They matter and you matter. And so how about you come with me now and I get you off of that highway where you got cut off. And what if you don't have to be cut off anymore? Now we're going into the hypothalamus. Thank you, everybody. The hypothalamus. And I'm tapping here over the pituitary hypothalamus. And that's linking to the midbrain at the base of the skull and the reptilian brain. So we're needing to integrate those brain parts with what just happened. Because somebody got cut off and had road rage yesterday, and we needed to integrate that. Again, the throat. Throat seems to be showing up a lot too. And I see some past life dynamics. A lot of us, you know, if there is such a thing as reincarnation, and anything that was a thought in this sense of creation is a possibility and is floating around there, whether you believe in it or not. There are many on the call who have experienced, there are many who have experienced being beheaded, being hung for speaking their truth. And in our history, many were beheaded and hung who spoke truth that wasn't ready to be heard by the masses. Well, I feel like that's what's shifting. Enough of us are waking up to wanting to hear, wanting to be in the truth of our being, instead of the regurgitated blah, 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 hate-filled, fear-filled, dismissive or absent filled. So like many have been leaving their bodies. So there's a thing called astral travel. And from my body talk experience, I learned that the body often will leave, the astral body will actually leave the body at night. And it kind of gives a rest for the physical body to reset. That said, a lot of people, their astral bodies have been leaving their bodies a lot and not wanting to come back in. And a lot can go on out there because energy is always looking for a place to land. And so a place to influence, a place to impact. And so we're needing to do some clearing up here, okay, in the soul star chakra, and even below, above that, to kind of clear that energy so that people's energies can become congruent and all the layers that we imagine that we have can come together synchronistically and harmoniously to operate optimally, fully, and well. No, that feels good. Everybody take a breath again and let's just do some breathing together and tapping. Because I feel that energy landing in each of us. It's like where we've been floating above our bodies. And as I say that, it's only your energy entering your body. All other energies stays out there where it belongs or goes back to where it came from. And you're breathing in yourself. And tap that in. Thank you, Virginia. Breathe that in and tap that in. Head, heart, and bellies. And so many of our educational pathways, Susan, you talked about the paths and integrating the paths. All of these tools and all of these systems are all saying the same things. They're just different approaches. And so as we're tapping it in, let's tap that in. Let's tap in the different approaches and the tools that we have actually brought to our life experiences along the way, and let's tap them in. So we have full availability to them, and they to us. So even as I tap, we're tapping the head, the heart, and the gut. We're tapping the three brains: the head, the heart, the belly. The ideas, the thought, the feeling, the heart, the emotional body, the gut, the visceral, material, active, moving body. The Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. They're all the same. They're all a reflection, a perspective of the same. And I feel, oh, there's a spot right here on the forehead. And it's mirrored. So this is in the prefrontal cortex. And we're needing to energize this area. The prefrontal cortex, theoretically, I say theoretically because every word I speak is as close to my version of the truth as I can say, is as close to every version that can be heard right now, but every word is simply a word expressing a minuscule version of the truth, and we all get to experience it and integrate it in our own way. So theoretically, this is the prefrontal cortex, which is our evolving brain, our new brain. It is the brain that's closely related to the heart brain. It is the brain that is the futuristic, the social, the playful, the joyful, the creative connection to being human. And we're needing to activate these spots. Yes, so just be with that. I'm actually going to say tap that into. And we're going to actually bring in, those of you who have been here for a while know easy water. I love, 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 love easy water. Easy water in scientific terms stands for exclusionary zone, and it is the part of the water that when scientists are polluting and experimenting with water to try and use it as a new energy resource, they've discovered that whatever beaker they put it in, whatever container they put it in, that there is a microscopic film between the water they've polluted and the container that never gets polluted. Imagine that. To me, that is source, that is light, that is God, that is creation, whatever it is you want to call it. And so we're calling that liquid. It's a thicker consistency than what we imagine as water. And it stays pure. It is never tainted. It is never sullied. It is always pure. It is always what it is. And we're tapping that in, and that is coming in to facilitate the cleansing of these parts. And now it's linking to a spot in the heart. And it feels like the pericardium of the heart, actually the protective covering of the heart. And many of us, in fact, probably most of us, maybe all of us, who are alive, pretty much probably anybody that's alive, we often create something called a false heart energetically because of harsh experiences and misperceptions along the way that we need to guard and protect our heart. The pericardium is the heart protector, but this false energetic heart needs to be shattered, needs to be let go, because it is stopping, it is a barrier to our full expression of love, our full expression of our feelings, our full expressions of being alive and being present. And I'm going to keep going back to being available, because that's a very, very pivotal word for me, and it just keeps showing up here. Being available, being able-bodied in all of the bodies, our physicality, our emotional bodies, our mental bodies, our energetic bodies. And now I see coming down through our cells, this easy water just kind of cleansing through, not just our cells, it's coming through our bodies. So imagine this is coming through, like my friend Mark Youngblood actually talks about, this whirling light coming through the crown of the head, and like a whirling vortex coming down through the crown of the head and down through our energy fields and down through the body and down into the earth. And just washing those fragmented, dried up bits and pieces of rigidity that were taking up space between our cellular membranes and disallowing us to fully expand and contract. Disallowing us to fully have full range of motion and availability. And then in the eyes, I'm having to blink a lot, so it's like, feels like peeling away those veils over the eyes. They actually look like old eyelids in a way. And there are many of them actually. So like the film of a car, we're like peeling away those layers to get to clear sight, clairsentient, clairaudient for our hearing. Okay. I feel like that is settling in. And I just feel this, I see this beautiful, brilliant golden light coming down through everyone's fields, infusing you, infusing me, infusing all of us with that golden ray of light. To bring more vibrancy, more vitality. And when I say more vibrancy and more vitality, it's not really bringing more vibrancy and more vitality, it's bringing more presence that allows us to remember our vitality, to remember who we are, and to revel in that. For me, this is the time of revelations from the Bible. It is a time of revealing. It is a time of revealing the truth. And all those horrible images that are portrayed in there are images that we have been seeing out there now and don't have to see out there anymore. The more we remember, the more we remember, the more we remember. Everybody tap that in, breathe that in. And I feel like just tapping it down the front. So wherever you feel called to tap yourself, tap yourself. Tap the palms of your hands, tap the soles of your feet, tap the back of your knees. I guess I'm feeling called to do that for some reason. Tap your palms, tap your elbows, heck, tap your armpits. Tap your heart. It feels like, I want to say that feels like the end, but it feels like there's something else. Still feels linked here. It's less about it's still the throat, but it's also like the clavicle. The clavicle. It has, like, there's a horrible image actually of like some like torture in the past. So we're needing to kind of peel that away. So, oh, it's like taking that off. taking that off. And actually, I'm gonna stand up. And I'm gonna recommend anybody who feels like standing up, stand up, and just take that off. Take that off like an old cloak or cape, and peel it off of your body, all the way down to the feet, and then step out of it. And imagine that a vortex opens up and it just takes it away. And that goes back to wherever it came from, wherever it was sourced from. No harm, just return to sender. And that's it. Feels like that's the end. Does anybody else have anything?
Debbie,
Yes.
I'm wondering about the clavicle being the barrier between the head and the heart.
Ah, well, see, that's a good metaphor. And
Thank you.
you're welcome. And it feels like with removing that energy, it's removing that barrier. Because really, when I look at the energy of it, it's showing me that it has been a barrier. It has been a restriction, like literally blocking the ability for the head and heart to connect. And also blocking mobility, because when the clavicle's stuck like that, you can't breathe well, you can't move well. So in opening that and stepping out of that, it's freeing that area and making the clavicle more receptive, because our bones sound, the sound of our voice, the sound of everything, the frequencies vibrate through our bones. And so literally the heartbeat can be felt through the bones. The heart of the earth can be felt through the bones. So it's aligning that clavicle to the rest of the thoracic cavity that is part of the structure of the heart, but not designed to be a cage. I said so in Joey. Not designed to be a cage, designed to be a space of a house, a temple, a structure to house the holiness of the heart, a structure to house the heartbeat of the heart, which is connected to the heartbeat of the earth, which is connected to the heartbeat of creation. So that feels like it cleared that. Do you feel like it cleared that?
Yeah, thank you, Debbie. I think about the clavicle being the first bone to start to develop in fetal development, and it being one of the easiest bones to break, and how detrimental it is
To break
for
it.
people.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
That's powerful. Thank you for that reminder.
Yeah, thank you. I also think about those wooden barriers that would lock a person's head and their hands together, and then they would hunch over.
Yep. And they
can be like, yeah, I'm getting that image.
Yeah, and that is so valid, because that's part of those past lives that we need to integrate. It's that shame. I mean, like the punishment that you are guilty, so you need to be punished, so you're going to be locked into this contraption. And not only are you going to be locked into this contraption, but you're going to be publicly displayed and abused by people you know. So that is part of that peeling away. integrating the soul, peeling away the wound and the experience.
And standing back up.
Yes, standing back up and having correct posture, because that is it. That's part of our structure. It's helping to align. This is, I feel like, that being available is strongly related to aligning our physical structure so that we can be that beacon that is available to our source and is available to source. Did that make sense to you?
You betcha. Very grateful. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. That's a pivotal point. Okay, that feels very complete. Thank you, everyone. I want to say thank you. I love you all. I'm sorry if I didn't interact with everybody on the page. I'm still kind of new at that, and when I get involved in the session, I want to be available for the session, and I'm learning to be more available to do that and this. So, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I want to give hugs and loves and kisses and thank yous to everybody, and little head nuzzles to Sodso and Joey and Kelso.
Joey's chirping, and so just looking so relaxed and happy.
Ah, I'm so happy to hear that. I'm so happy to hear you on the call.
Yes, so happy to be on the call.
Nice.
Thanks for letting me know they were still going on. No, I thought they weren't.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Nani.
You're welcome.
Thanks for doing.
You're welcome. Good night, everyone. Oh, as Norman's telling me to say, if you want to actually, you can go to newmoonsession.com if you want to find out more about this. So thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night. This session is no longer being recorded.
Oh, I need to stop this too.